Bella Bella is on the east coast of Campbell Island on British Columbia's central coast. Bella Bella is 181 kilometers north of Port Hardy and 144 kilometers west of Bella Coola. The community is on Lama Passage, part of the Inside Passage. With a population of 1,400, Bella Bella is the largest community in the Central Coast region north of Queen Charlotte Strait. The first flight up the coast was on September 20th, 1920. Lieutenant Harry Brown of the Vancouver Island Aerial Service took off from Alert Bay en route to Prince Rupert. He had flown from Victoria the day before. He was underway with a planned fuel stop at Bella Bella. Brown's Curtiss JN4, mounted on floats, had a Curtiss OX5 engine. Brown was forced down with a magneto failure. The aircraft was wrecked on rocks. Brown survived. He was picked up by a passing steamship. The first visitor by air at Bella Bella was likely Lieutenant Roy F. Jones. Jones had been with the U.S. Air Service in the First World War. After his military discharge, he bought a Curtiss MF Seagull flying boat from the U.S. Navy. He installed a 180 horsepower Hispano-Suiza engine he bought from the U.S. Army. The flying boat and engine were shipped to Seattle. There, with help from Bill Boeing and Eddie Hubbard, the aircraft was assembled. Early in July 1922, Jones and air mechanic Jerry Smith took off from Lake Union, headed for Alaska. Jones' first recorded stop was at Alert Bay, but he likely stopped elsewhere. At Alert Bay, Jones took aerial photos of the nearby mill. On landing, a hole was torn in the hull. A local boat builder made repairs. The aircraft, named the Northbird, continued up the coast, likely landing for fuel at Bella Bella and Swanson Bay, arriving at Prince Rupert on July 17th, and later departing for Ketchikan. The first documented arrival of an aircraft at Bella Bella was July 23, 1923. Squadron leader Earl Godfrey arrived en route to Prince Rupert from Jericho Beach. Godfrey was flying a Curtiss HS-2L flying boat. They had last refueled at Alert Bay and now at the Imperial Oil Dock, then adjacent to and northwest of the BC Packers Cannery at the old Bella Bella Post Office on Denny Island. Throughout the late 1920s and early 30s, many aircraft flew up the coast to Prince Rupert and Alaska. Many stopped at the Imperial Oil Dock at Old Bella Bella for fuel or to wait out bad weather. On November 18, 1936, the RCAF's senior air officer in Ottawa, Air Commodore G.M. Croyle, advised Wing Commander A.L. Cuff that his unit, No. 4 Flying Boat Squadron at Jericho Beach, could be expected to carry out a survey of possible flying boat stations for the defense of Canada's west coast. The BC Reconnaissance Detachment of No. 4 Flying Boat Squadron was quick to select Bella Bella as an excellent site. In October 1937, Cuff reported to Croyle in Ottawa, quote, "The Bella Bella area is well removed from the influence of high mountains. The surrounding land is reasonably low and contains much sheltered water. It is considered to be the most suitable operating area between Queen Charlotte Sound and Prince Rupert." The facilities report is generally concurred in, but Whiskey Cove is too small for aircraft concentrations, and Cliquotso-Atlee Harbor, southwest of Whiskey Cove, appears to be satisfactory, but requires further consideration with a view to accommodating a floating runway and finding the most suitable building site, unquote. In September 1938, the recently formed Western Air Command of the RCAF formed a detachment at Bella Bella to collect weather information. The detachment was housed in the RCAF seaplane tender M159, known as the Scow. The Scow was commanded by Corporal W. Harris with a two-man crew. In his report to RCAF HQ in October 1937, Wing Commander Cuff referred to the establishment of a floating runway at Cliquotso-Atlee Harbor. This floating runway was also contemplated for Bella Bella and Prince Rupert. In the December 1st, 1937 reply to Wing Commander Cuff from the Senior Air Officer, RCAF Ottawa, he refers to the suggestion of a floating runway, stating, quote, "DND is not fully convinced, but the National Research Council would possibly carry out tests in this regard," unquote. In June 1940, construction began on an RCAF station at Bella Bella. The station would include 2 full-size flying boat hangars with ramps for beaching, accommodations for as many as 1,000 personnel, a hospital, administration, and mess facilities. By November 1941, 21 buildings were ready for use.